Hello everybody, my name is Jacob Boyer, and this is the commentary, well, one of several commentaries for Yours Anonymous the Movie. I am joined here today with the author of the book, Mr. Peter Orr. How are you, sir?
I'm alright, I'm looking forward to seeing this.
You've obviously seen it already, right?
Yeah, but only piecemeal.
Oh, okay. So this is the full version. Well, actually, I was surprised it was only an hour long. I was expecting it to be longer with all we shot, but it's still a good length, I guess. Now, this is the only technical flashback. I always
wanted to know, what is Key?
That is Felicity's production company that she founded with some of her performing arts friends. Like, I just figured that it would, just felt right to put it at the beginning as well, since she was such a big part of it. She might as well have been a producer with all the help she gave us.
She's amazing.
She is. I guess this is the only technical flashback we really have. And then this was, I believe... Oh, wait, no, this was not the last thing we shot. I think the last thing we shot was when we had to redo your lines at the end. So
this is in Mrs. Toto's room, a.k.a. Mrs. Lehrer's room.
Yep, and then that is...
The poem.
The poem that is taken from the book. I believe there was one poem that we had at one point that just had
It's a horror flick with it.
Yeah. I was actually, when I was editing it together, I kept on laughing at that part just because it felt weird to me, but when you add the music, it worked pretty well.
And it's quite ominous at the beginning too, isn't it?
Yeah. I forget what song it was at the beginning. Oh no, it was I believe it was a piano piece. I forget who did it though. I'd have to look at the credits. But then this shot was hard to do. I remember we had the...
Well, we did this a la carte, right?
Yeah, we had it on a cart we were pulling back. We had it on a cart that we were pulling back, and it kept on shaking because the wheels wouldn't lock, and we had to turn it at the end, so even if we could lock the wheels, then it wouldn't have worked.
And we always had welcome guests in the background.
Yeah, well, it at least shows that there's other people in the school. It gives the impression that there's actually classes going on.
How many times do you think we did this one shot? We did it I would guess 7 or 8 times.
I'd probably guess even more than that, maybe. And also, I like that, I don't know why, that this is where they met, because originally in the script there was a room in the other end of the library where...
there's one of my many sweaters.
Well, at least they blended in the black and white for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, in some scenes, but there was a room at the end of the library that we were originally going to use for the interview scenes, and we ended up not being able to use it because they converted it into a tech support room, I guess, for the laptops. I'm not sure what they did, but we couldn't use it, so we had to use this corner. And that's the first continuity error. Her purse disappears as she goes through the door. Really? Yeah, but I haven't heard anybody call me out on it. So you win some, you lose some, I guess.
Well, theoretically, she just put her purse down by her side, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It disappears.
And there's Kiki playing Eminem, who honestly I couldn't that was the only hard. It was her and Ashley were the two hardest casting decisions. Ashley ended up obviously not being a problem because he's not in the movie anymore because we didn't do the flashbacks. But Kiki she looked the part, and she was not a trained actress, but she did a very, very good job.
Phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And it helps that, she fits the bill perfectly.
She does.
She's exactly what I imagined Mary Margaret would be. Of course, in real life.
Yeah.
Kiki's personality is nothing like Eminem's personality. She's no...
Yeah.
Eminem is how can I say it this way? A bit of a tease. A person who may be leading guys on a bit. I don't think he would be like that, would you?
No, I don't think so. But, also, this was another problem I had was it's going to fade to black now, so you can't see it. But when it cuts between the two of them, Kiki's half was shot on tape, and Felicity's half was shot on was shot digitally, so I was worried about the quality change, but for the most part, like, it's not that noticeable. The only problem is there's at some points the frames per second rate drops when we were using the digital cameras.
Yeah.
So it gets choppy at some points, but it's not terribly noticeable.
The kids who watch this film will know how bothered I am by seeing my name is Peter Orr. It's like Peter David Orr, because I'm obsessed with the number 13. I always have my name is Peter David Orr, so it comes up to 13.
Oh, gotcha. Did you know that? I did not know that. That's interesting.
13's a big number. It is. It's one of those weird things that comes up in my life time and time again. So
it's like have you ever heard of the number 23 theory?
Yes.
That like the big things always boil down to 23. It's just another thing like that.
For me, it's just 13.
Yeah, I heard there was someone was testing the legitimacy of that, and this woman came up with the cupcake theory, and she just applied it to every time a cupcake appeared in her life, and she concluded that she thinks it applies to everything, but I don't know. I like the numbers are more reliable. This is it. And then this song that's playing, we don't have the audio right now, but the song is called "Be Mine," and it's written by Schell and performed by him as well, and he was I heard several of his originals. Yep,
he's very good.
He is. He's working on an album right now, I believe. I recommended him to your friend Andrew Chervack.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they've followed up on the deal or whatever. But I did give him his information, and Drew is very talented, so I think he should have no problem at least getting some recordings done. And here we go into the first interview with Paisley, played by Hannah Reeder, who also did a very good job. She ended up replacing somebody too, because she did an audition originally.
Right.
She
do you remember that first audition we did with all those people that showed up at the high school?
Yep. We had, how many rounds of auditions did we have? 2?
At least 2.
I remember we had one on the stage and then one in like a boardroom. But the person who originally was going to play Paisley, she was very talented, but the problem was she was under the impression that we were going to be shooting over the summer, and when she found out that we weren't, she ended up dropping out because she just didn't have the time to do it.
What I like about Miss Reeder is that she just seems real to me.
Yeah.
When I see her, I just believe what she's saying.
Yeah. She also, it's just, I'm not sure how to word it, but she does, like, the same way that Kiki fit the bill as Eminem very well. She fits the type of person you'd imagine Paisley to be very well as well. It's also, in your book, it's all just like transcripts, so there's not ever a moment where Mary Ellen's like describing in detail like what each person looks like or how they act or whatever. So that also helps that like you can kind of project however you want these people to look.
That was actually the way that I envisioned it. In other words, that's what I hoped for.
Yeah. That
people could see themselves in the different characters. And
right. And it ended up working out very well.
Someone always asks me about. Why did I choose such a strong female lead? And my response always is the same.
You mean with Mary Ellen?
Yeah, with Mary Ellen.
Yeah.
You remember how we used to do this as a mock trial in class, and how girls became like crusaders for justice.
Yeah.
Ashley White was dead. Well, I mean, it's like taking every girl that ended up being a DA in our mock trial and just kind of blending them together in the person of... And to see how well her part in particular came out. I mean, this is the glue that holds the whole thing together.
Yeah, she did, and Felicity did. They did carry it very well. When I wrote it was I believed all of the people being interviewed. I believed their motivations and all that. But when I was writing it, my only problem was like trying to figure out like a justifiable reason for Mary Ellen to be so obsessed with this, but then I ended up not having to worry about that because Felicity kind of took that out of the equation somehow with her performance. She just it's the way...
It was seamless.
Yeah.
You believed it from the very beginning.
Right.
And that's just the way that so many... I hate to say this, but it's a strong suit for female students.
Yeah.
not the obsession necessarily, but just the quest for justice and the idea that something needs to be set right.
Right.
That you know, she's a little bit on edge makes her character interesting to me.
Yeah. And then this was also I recorded the commentary track with Couper, one of the producers, last night. I should have added Bill Gates to the cast because he's in the background of every single shot.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder, is he holding a book? Is he making?
He's holding a book that's like the typical celebrities endorse reading motivational posters that you always see in school libraries. But this was also this scene for Hannah. This was interesting because she's telling the story about how Brenda was spreading rumors about her, and that it just also showed how it also kind of gave a backstory for Ashley and him already having bad blood sort of between Brenda and to some extent Trudy, but not really. It was mainly Brenda, and then that also is a reason why Brenda is sort of vindictive towards Ashley later on with we need to teach him a lesson, and we need to show him he's not all that. But Hannah did a very good job here because she actually, I added in the script that Paisley broke down and cried, and she actually did manage to shed a tear or two when she has to say that, she says, she told people my dad molested me, and that was really, really well done on her.
It was spot on. I remember the taping when we were actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. That was powerful.
And coming from like her, because she started out kind of rough, like she was like just kind of reading right off of the laptop we had set up at eye level for people to read their lines. She was just going right off of that.
That's a nice way to set up, and then using that as the lead-in interview.
Yeah,
it gives you the flavor of just how dastardly Marty and Brenda can be.
Right. I also. And then this was also the person who ended up playing Brenda. She replaced the original actress because she just wasn't available whenever we needed her to be. So I just asked Brynne to come in for one day to record the scene, and she knocked it out of the park. Even though she says I'm a terrible actress, I can't do it. But then she did a great job as well. She fit the smarmy, snarky. Popular persona very well. And I believe this is also your first, you're not your first appearance, but your first interview appearance in here when you're sort of moderating the conversation between the two of them.
And I'm just curious, I must not have been there that day because I don't remember this interview being... Okay, I'm there, but I'm not there, right?
Well, no, you were there when we shot Felicity's half of it, but you weren't there when we shot Brynne's half. This was I believe the second to last day of classes at the high school. We shot Brynne and we shot Duwain. We shot Brenda and Duwain on the same day. So I had Couper and Brynne come in to do their lines, and then I believe the day after that, it was probably a week later that I was looking at the footage and making sure I had everything backed up, that I realized we never shot your lines from the end of Eminem's last interview, the last segment of Eminem's interview. We hadn't shot your lines, and I couldn't exactly cut around that, so I went back and I fixed that. That was the last thing we shot, and that was a little bit weird because the high school was dead because graduation was that same day, and they had lost power or something. But
so where
it all worked
out. Attitude? She's obviously not this way in real life.
I don't know.
She really comes across as really snooty and
she can pull it.
Everybody else, and oh my goodness,
it's just natural talent that she is being humble about, I assume, because it was very. When I asked her to do it, she's like, I don't know, I can't really act that well. And then she got in, and it was just second nature. I don't think we did more than 2 takes of her entire run through.
She looks like an actress, and the name of the actress I cannot remember right now, but I'm telling you,
Michelle Williams.
Give her blonde hair. It's crazy similar.
Yes, it's the eyes and the her smile as well. I know exactly what you mean. I wish that there was another scene between Mary Ellen and Brenda, because I liked the dynamic of them just like lightly jabbing at each other, with like Brenda just being snarky and Mary Ellen just reacting. It was very interesting.
Dr. Todt's part, by the way, came off a lot better as I saw it this last time.
Yeah.
Than I think I assumed it was going to be the first time.
How do you mean?
Just cut it very well.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. That was
parts in there that I was wondering how you're going to put them together, but you really made it come together really well.
Thank you.
Those hallway shots and stuff.
Yeah. And then there was one, what was I going to say? There's a few moments in the movie when the audio was a little bizarre and I'd have to cut it out. And what I would do to solve that was take the audio from another take entirely and just layer it over. And it was that usually doesn't work, but for some reason it always worked every single time I needed to do it. It happens in this scene right now between you and Felicity. So like this part, you were there when we shot this, but then Felicity, we had to rush her out because she had to be somewhere. So that's why I think we forgot to do your lines. But also Kiki did a phenomenal job here as well, because again, Mercedes and Paisley both cry over Ashley, but Eminem obviously did not know Ashley as well as them, so she would be upset, but I don't think she would be driven to tears.
Although she's not driven to tears, the guilt-stricken look on her face it says it all.
It is, like, again, Kiki, I forget what she's going into, but I did tell her, if you ever need a fallback, you could definitely be an actress. I think this is the line coming up when you say, "I'll see you tomorrow," then. That's from a different take, but it doesn't help that we don't have the audio playing right now to help the recording, but you'll have to take my word for it. And this was also, I was proud, I don't know why, but I was really happy with the way this looked, with her write it, even though she mentions it earlier that Marty didn't want to do an interview. It just worked nicely to just have this happen. I also noticed that Kevin's name is crossed off, but we never showed Kevin on screen.
Oh yeah.
And we actually probably didn't need to, because he would have probably just said the same thing as Brent. And then I believe, we fade into the second version of Marty's confrontation.
The first version was so good, but this is even better. You don't need to be humble about this. You did a heck of a job.
Thank you. I honestly, if I had been able to, I think what I would have done was the only problem was with the original Marty scene. I would have used it, and what I would have done was when she looks at his name, it would have faded to white and then shown the confrontation, and then it would have faded back and her crossing off the name and then writing Marty finding out consent to an interview. I would have done that, but my problem was I decided I didn't like the music in the original scene with Marty, with the first actor we used for Marty, and I didn't have a version that did not have the music in it.
Now, did you intend the way this is set up? I mean, in this hallway, the lighting, it's, I don't know, classic, it's like vintage 50s lighting where you've got this feeling of impending doom.
You mean just with the light coming down, like, from behind Felicity, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That actually...
It's a lengthening effect in the hallway. It's a really dramatic backdrop to each of these shots back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like we know that you're both together, but you're so distant in terms of your outlook in life that the hallway kind of represents that.
That's very true. I guess maybe in the back of my mind, but the lighting, obviously, that was just from the time of day we shot it, and I guess the way we had the camera, had we moved it over a little bit more, I guess the Felicity would have been too dark, but it does kind of make an interesting silhouette effect against her in the background.
up for the whole class to see.
I also find it funny that Marty has a WWJD bracelet. But,
Can you actually see that?
Yeah. It's on my right hand, as always. I guess when he raises his hand up again, you can see it. But
Any of them are equally as guilty as
it was weird.
Well, maybe
like,
what would a jerk do?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But it was honestly, it was weird shooting it the first time and just being there watching Felicity and the first actor go at it, and then taking Marty's place and having her be coming off so angry to my face. It was honestly a little bit bizarre. It was just because. Again, she sort of became Mary Ellen, and obviously on some level was legitimately
That's the
upset
thing I remember
with Marty.
most about this particular shot, because we did it it was done fast.
It was.
It happened, boom.
I mean, her delivery of the "Have fun living with that" monologue, where she's like, he had friends and family. Again, and we didn't do it more than I don't think 2 or 3 times, because Felicity did it so perfectly each time. And I do like that. I like that line, even though it is a little bit cheesy. I don't think a regular high schooler would necessarily say that, but all your guests have left the party. It does kind of it's the perfect spit in the face to Marty and what he stands for, I guess. And then here we cut into the principal scene with Mr. Luckenbill, who did a very good job.
See, this is what I mean by how she stands up in this scene she's sitting there, obviously, with any other person would be intimidated as heck.
Right.
And she's looking, what the heck is going on here? And then she ends up just
standing up. But it also I like is the previous scene. She's standing up for her rights, but it's more for Ashley's rights, but she's doing it so aggressively with Marty, and this time she's more passive and sort of pleading, but it's a nice flip of the coin, I guess is the term.
She may be pleading, but she delivers her points succinctly and convincingly.
Yeah. And
I believe that if that were not an actor but a real principal, pun intended, that he would see her point.
Yeah.
And
what also I remember is Felicity showed up when we shot this the night before. She messaged me and she said, I have a head cold and I don't know if I'll be able to come in. I feel sick. And she came in and just like usual, she memorized all of her lines in 5 minutes and then sat down, and we did a few more takes than normal because she was a little bit sick. But the problem was her big long speech where she says, I'll do whatever the school board asks me to do and I'll change people's names and such. But we had to improvise that because she couldn't remember it for the life of her. So we just gave her bullet points of stuff to say, and she turned out 4 different improvised monologues, and it was cut, the final version was cut together amongst all of them, but it worked out so well.
I gotta really hand it to Mr. Luckenbill.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Luckenbill and Mrs. Toto, they didn't have to be involved in any of this.
Very true.
They wanted to be involved in this because they saw it, they got it, and
yeah,
he delivers here too.
He does.
Does a terrific job. I mean, if I were the kid, I'd be afraid.
Right.
I'd be intimidated.
And again, it translates right there when she kind of just she retreats into her shell, I guess, holding her arms and kind of looking down, she's obviously nervous, but she doesn't want to accept defeat.
I like the way you wrote this too, because Jacob, you realize how on pins and needles principals all over the country are with any delicate issue.
Right.
They're always worried that if the right thing is done, that they or the school district will somehow be portrayed in the wrong light. And
exactly.
All this stuff. But there's an overriding concern here, and he comes around to it. Look, a great principal would.
Very true. And that was just because I was just writing it how I thought. I guess one of my one of my pros as a writer. Like, one of my abilities is just, like, I can kind of think how the character would think in that scenario to an extent. Like, obviously, I'm not a high school principal, but I do understand the whole idea of we have an image to protect, and it's bad, but we need to
that's what Franklin
we need to
High
defend
School is,
this.
you know that.
Right.
Franklin is, it's supposed to be a school that is respected.
Right.
And the point, and yours anonymous, is that even in respectable places, this kind of bullying occurs regularly.
Very true.
And, different
as
forms.
in very many schools, like very many respected schools, it's something that, like, you think it's something like bullying is very obvious when you see it, but nowadays it's not as easy to spot.
The kids are sophisticated in their bullying, and it's not recognized even by the kids as bullying. It's just a way of life, and that's the sad part, isn't it?
That is very true. And and again, I've never personally been bullied, but, like, I've seen it, and aside from wanting to do the reason why I wanted to do the movie actually came out of I was writing a script for something else at the time, and I got writer's block, and I was just kind of thinking off in my head, and I was reminiscing on the mock trials, and I thought that would actually. I remember you had written the book, but I had never read it, and I thought.
Well, you didn't need to read it. You experienced the class.
But I figured when I was.
Hold on 1 second. I want you to see what is on the back of her.
Oh, the shirt, yeah, where it says "Death is the only salvation." Yeah. Yes, I noticed that when we shot, but whatever. But what was I saying? I hadn't read the book, but I believe I emailed you right after I started thinking about how it would work, and you emailed back saying, "Yes, of course, I'd love that'd be amazing." So I think I wrote maybe the first 15 pages, like up until the middle of Paisley's interview, and then after that we met and we worked out details on shooting it, and then we pretty much spent all of my senior year of high school making the movie. Then through many ins and outs, this is the result, as Felicity says, as well as Ashley technically says in the poetry book.
How many days of shooting do you think there were altogether? There's got to be at least 50.
I would guess, yeah, because you have to take into account the reshoots that we had to do just for the different technical reasons.
When I say days of shooting, I mean it obviously wasn't a complete day on any occasion.
Right, we never shot, I believe, more than an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, maybe 2.
But that bit with Paisley, I thought that was no, that wasn't the last thing we shot. That was that we shot that the last day of classes, and we only had about 10 minutes to do that. And
I've learned so much about the world.
It was interesting because Hannah, when you gave her the lines, she kind of like clammed up, and she was very nervous with delivering them. But when we were rushed and we only had 10 minutes to do it, it came off much more natural and believable. And there was another little continuity error too, because we had to reshoot that. Those tables in the background were for I believe a Holocaust remembrance thing that we had going on, and they disappear in the next shot when she walks away. And then some people have asked me, like, why is the whole movie in black and white except for like the first 30 seconds and the last 10 seconds? It was because originally in the script all of the flashbacks were in color for when Ashley was still alive, and all of the interviews were in black and white, and that was just like my little artsy throw in, like, things are more sad after he's dead, so it's in black and white and everything's. And then so I originally, when he died, it would have faded to black and white, and then when everything is sort of resolved, it faded back to color, and that was the point. But it still also works. And then this was just a quote I liked from The Great Gatsby. I figured would fit very nicely. Because originally there was a scene in the classroom with Ms. Lehrer, and her class when they were talking about like different romance stories and how they didn't like it was like they were having a discussion on tragic romance, I believe. So she referenced like Romeo and Juliet and The Great Gatsby and all that. And then so there were like also little hints like where Ty compares Marty to Gatsby in the sense that everybody knows him and he's popular for sort of illegal reasons. But that is Yours Anonymous, the movie. It was fun, even though it did make me want to tear my hair out sometimes. But overall, it was a great experience, and so I would say very good first feature. Yes, it does. Technically, it does. My definition of feature is anything over an hour and 15 minutes, but I don't think this is a short film by any means.
No,
so I think my definition of feature is adjusted.
Well, I'm excited to show it to people.
I'm excited for when we show it to the 8th grade.
There's a difference between watching it on the little screen and watching it on the big screen.
Yeah.
That's what I can't wait to see,
It'll be very, very fun.
And for whatever reason, this seems to appeal to, the 8th grade mind as much as it appeals to the juniors or seniors.
Very true.
And I've even had several adults say, "Wow, that's pretty amazing."
Yeah.
How the heck did a high school kid do this? Wow, that's Jacob Boyer.
I use the excuse. I just say I'm a kid behind a camera. That's all the people that helped. That are the real people that you need to thank for doing it. Because at the end of the day, all I did was type up a script, turn the camera on, and then put clips together.
Then put in 1,000 hours of
yeah,
that's all I did.
But I don't have a movie if you don't say yes, I would love to see this movie, and I don't have a movie if any of the actors and actresses say yes, I would love to do it. I also don't have a movie if Mr. Hershey and Mr. Bryce and
how about it?
all the other people didn't lend me equipment. I don't have a movie if Couper drives me around or drives the actors around. So it's not. I'm not the only person who needs to be thanked. Everybody who was involved with this did a stellar job, start to finish, in whatever they were designated to do.
And the school is very supportive in general.
Oh yeah, they definitely were. Well, at first it was funny because the first thing we ever shot, I was under the impression we could just bring people in, shoot, and then no questions asked because it's a student project. Mm-hmm. But they were like, no, you need a teacher here to do this, and that was. We almost didn't have that first day of shooting because Couper had to drive over here to get you and then bring you over, and then we found out, you have to be here every single time we shoot, and I need to give you immense thanks for sacrificing so many afternoons to
see all my former students performing at this level for something that they're not required to do, something that they just want to do. That's a pretty amazing thing. Just that by itself is very rewarding,
Yeah. It was very cool to see how many people, because that was my big concern, was that we needed such a big cast to make it work, and I wasn't thinking many people would be interested. But not only did we have people from Southern Lehigh coming in to do it, we had, in Mark's case, someone who's a professional actor coming in to do a scene or two. And also Felicity, who doesn't go to Southern Lehigh anymore, coming in to record. Right. But yes, just immense thank yous to everybody. And we don't have a movie without any of you.
You guys are awesome.
You all are. And thank you very much, Mr. Orr, for sitting down and recording this commentary with me, even though you have to go before your car explodes.
I hope it doesn't explode.
All right.
Last but not least.
Yes.
If you could pick any song in the world to put in a nutshell, what is Yours Anonymous? Did you find that one? Is SSQ's Anonymous the one?
The lyrics.
Or was there another one that you thought, that would be nice?
Well, I technically think the theme of Yours Anonymous would really be Drew's "Be Mine" song, because there's some lyrics where it's talking about
kind of from Ashley's perspective.
Exactly. But Anonymous by SSQ I was watching this independent movie called Beyond the Black Rainbow, and it was just a song that played during the credits, and it kind of was catchy. And the
use the word anonymous.
And use the word anonymous, but also the words kind of linked to it as well. But I just liked it, and it always was in my mind as the song that could close it out. So that was Yours Anonymous, the movie. And again, thank you very much, Mr. Orr, for doing this commentary with me.